Dude, I was thinking about how I think the first time that you and I were like extremely inspired by music was when we were riding in a friend's car and we heard the song American Idiot by Green Day for the first time.
Do you remember when that was?
It was probably around 2004 because I think that's the year that album came out. And I think it was soon after that. And
Okay.
we had a friend who was a little bit older than us. He had the CD. He was playing in his car. So we asked him to burn us that CD because we liked it.
Yeah, but there was a catch.
What was the catch? I don't remember.
The catch is he wanted something in return because he didn't just want to give us a free burnt CD like it was costing him so much to do it.
We probably offered to give him the blank CD too because I had a bunch of those. But he still wanted to get something out of it.
I think he just wanted it to be a fair trade more than anything else. I don't think it was him trying to take advantage of the situation.
It was probably just, being, we were just being goofy or whatever. But
so do you know what's funny about that?
What?
I actually wanted to tell you the story of that.
Oh, okay.
So when we first heard it for the first time, we were already somewhat into music, but I can't remember if you and I were playing at the time. I think we were just getting ready to like pick up our instruments and be in a band together. But this friend, he made me a deal like I just want to trade for something of value to at least maximize this exchange. And I went through this list of things that I had that may be of interest to him. And I finally caught his attention when I told him I had season 1 of Aqua Teen Hunger Force that he could borrow for like a month.
Okay.
If you would burn you and I a copy of American Idiot on CD with 64 kilobits per second quality.
Oh, man. Which back then, that was like at least 64 times better than what we had before, which was...
No kilobits.
No kilobits.
Or 1. It'd have to be 1 kilobit.
Yeah.
The math doesn't check out.
Yeah, because if you time something by 0, it's just 0. Still.
Right. Yeah. Your rough math is impressive, though.
Yeah.
I got the general idea.
Yeah, I took math in school.
Nice.
Yeah.
As did I.
Nice.
Yeah.
So instead of chemistry?
I think I had to take both at some point. I can't remember.
Okay. Yeah, you made it a little further than I did. But, so what was the rest of that story?
So it caught his attention. He's like, yeah, you know what? I will take that Aqua Teen Hunger Force Season 1 DVD, which honestly I loved and didn't really want to give to him, which is why I said he could borrow it. But, lo and behold, he burned us a copy of American Idiot, and I have never received Season 1 of Aqua Teen back.
Oh, that's right. I remember you talked about that for a good while. Like you always would mention every once in a while. I never had that. And back then it was like those things were sacred because like we didn't have streaming. We didn't have, even if you were to pirate something, it was still difficult. It's, different times. I mean, the internet, just the speed, the ethics. We were super concerned about ethics when we were teenagers.
Oh, for sure. My biggest concern was committing a federal crime of stealing intellectual property.
Yeah, that was on our minds a lot. And, at that age.
Yeah, I don't think you or I ever pirated a single piece of media on the internet.
No.
But do you know what's so crazy about that whole exchange? I felt like I won. Not that it was like a battle, but what I took away from it was a love for music that I didn't know that I would receive and a level of appreciation for that genre, the artist. Dude, it changed my life.
Do you think Aqua Teen Hunger Force changed his life as much as American Idiot changed your life?
No way.
Do you think Meatwad had any effect on his life at all?
Probably. Meatwad's an enjoyable character.
Yeah. But other than that, I just don't. Because that has shaped you to this day. For almost 20 years, that album has shaped both of us, musically. Because we were like a little bit into music then, but we didn't have the tenacity. Is that a word?
Or the inspiration.
Yeah. Or the ambition.
Yeah.
Or the, insert fancy word here.
Fancy.
Yeah.
Fancy feast.
Ooh.
It's a fancy word.
Break me off a piece of that fancy feast. Yes.
Where my office fans at?
Yeah.
Comment down below. I think we may have kind of revealed what we're talking about today, but do you want to give them a little setup? Tell them a little bit of what we're going to do.
Yeah. So Alex and I have been deeply influenced by music and especially in our formative years, especially punk rock. And so we want to kind of dig into that a little bit, pay tribute to really what shaped us. And especially, should we go ahead and tell them the two that we're going to talk about, or should we reveal it as we go?
Oh, let's reveal it as we go. Let's
Okay,
keep them in
all right.
suspense.
But some punk rock artists, maybe some other artists a little bit that we might mention. But we really want to dig into that and just kind of just have some fun with that. And because we have a lot of similar taste in music. So like
Our music taste buds are on par.
Yeah.
For the most part. Obviously, we're individuals, and we'll probably explore that a little bit too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like if you were to taste a medium rare, steak or a pork chop or something that I made and one that Alex made, it would taste the same.
Right. You'd get a little taste of a power chord from a pop punk anthem in there for sure.
This is a throwback from last week's episode.
I don't know.
Aioli.
It was a couple weeks ago, right? I'm losing track of time.
It was last week, dude.
Aioli.
Aioli, it's a truffle. Anyway, yeah.
You know what? The point is, we're going to discuss something that we love even more today than aioli.
Yeah. And that is music.
Music.
So, yeah.
I love
it. To get us started off correctly with this endeavor of music, what should we do?
What could we possibly do that relates to that subject?
I don't know. How are we ever going to segue this and connect these dots and chase these rabbits? Oh, that's not the right figure of speech. Anyway.
I'm a little lost myself, but I'll tell you what.
Same. I'll tell you what.
Let's hit the intro. Huh?
Let's hit the intro song.
Let's hit the intro song. Hey. Do you know that one?
I'm pretty sure you can sing it. It's not a copyright infringement.
You're right, best trip. Yeah. Always. I know. I mean, if people don't know it at this point, they'll be at my show, watching and waiting, commiserating. Did you know that's the lyric? I just hit my mic.
Commiserating?
Yeah, commiserating.
Commiserating
business.
Yeah. Say it ain't so.
Oh, dude. Well, since we're going to talk about some of the bands that inspired us and were highly influential, conveniently, by the time that viewers watch this episode, I will have attended Blink-182's concert in Chicago.
Oh, man. I'm jelly, dude.
Yeah.
I'm jelly.
May the 7th, I will be going / have already gone because this episode will air a couple days after.
May the 7th be with you.
May the 7th be with you as well.
Thank you.
And also with you. But yeah, dude, Blink-182, what an incredible band. I am extremely hyped to go see them live because Tom DeLonge, one of the founding members and honestly one of the most iconic members who is a staple of the pop punk community, is back in the band. It's their first time hitting the road. You can feel the passion. They're all excited to be back together again. We just watched some footage of them live.
Yeah, they're sounding good.
Yeah.
For, how old they've gotten.
Yep.
Like, they sound good live. I think they sound better than they ever have.
I think so too. Musically, they're on it, man. And the care and concern for their performance seems to be at an all-time high, which is something that people always stated about them. Their show was never impressive because of the musicality, but it was exciting and entertaining because of the energy levels. And dude, I am just so freaking pumped to go. I wish you could go too.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I would have liked that. It's something you're doing with is it your brother?
My brother.
Yeah. So,
because believe it or not, he received a lot of the music that I had stored on the computer, our family computer, downloaded, whatever you want to call it.
Oh, so he just kind of like started listening to that?
Yeah, because I'd ripped all those CDs and saved them on the computer, so he put them on his MP3 player, and he honestly got the gift of music from me, which is really cool.
Dude, that's a good thing to pass down right there.
Yeah.
I mean, you could have just given him like thousands of dollars, but no, you gave him something better.
Yeah, I didn't have that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'll consider it. If the opportunity ever arises, I'll ask him, hey, do you want the gift of music refunded and I'll give you $1,000? You know what he'd probably say, though? He'd probably still keep the gift of music.
Really?
I bet.
Depends on where he's at, though.
True.
There's
financial position.
There's been plenty of times that you and I probably would have taken $1,000 and regretted it, but like we would have taken it.
I suppose, but I probably wouldn't give up my appreciation of music for anything.
For sure.
How about you?
No, I mean, not for $1,000.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, I mean, I would say out of all of my interests and inspirations and things like that, yeah, that's probably definitely the biggest one. So
for sure,
it's I think it shaped me a ton. I don't think I'd be the same person. I wouldn't have had most of the experiences I've had over the last couple decades.
Which is interesting, looking back on our early lives in particular, and even when we kind of branched off and went separate directions musically.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there was a time where we were in a band or two together, and we were in it with one of our close friends. And then
what's a band or two?
A band or two? Well, it's not a band or three.
Oh, okay.
A band or two.
And it's not a Banjo-Kazooie?
No, it's not a Banjo-Kazooie.
Okay.
But yeah, you know, we had an experience in our early lives forming a band and playing shows and goofing around, hanging out late at night, making music, recording our own music, paying to go record places or a single place, depending on how you want to look at it. I think we only recorded once together. But there were so many things you and I experienced.
We only recorded professionally one time together.
Correct.
But we
and
recorded at home. Yeah.
That's a debatable word, professional.
Right. Yeah. We recorded at home together many times.
Oh, for sure. Dude, we picked up so many skills from that without even knowing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were our producer at the time / engineer.
Yeah.
Because you were the only one with a computer.
Dude, some of those skills, man, of like pirating software. I mean, there's a lot of skills we picked up.
Right, which you never did.
Yeah. I wouldn't, but I knew how to. I picked up that skill from doing that, but I never used it.
Right. You just learned how. You just never did.
It's like learning how to kill somebody if you're in the CIA or something, but not actually using it.
Right. They would never use brute force to get the results they're looking for.
Yeah. They would never, kill someone who has dirt on the government or something.
Never.
Ever.
But yeah, dude, it was really neat to do all the things that we did and go the places that we went because of music. We've talked about it before. Whether or not we were successful wasn't the point, but we made a lot of memories and we had a lot of really good times. Yeah. And like I also just mentioned, we kind of split off into different things musically. We were in our 20s. You were in a different band than I was. I was in a different band, and we had different experiences, which was also neat.
Yeah, I was in a different band than you were, and you were in a different band than I was. So
the funny thing is we were both playing different instruments than we typically would.
Than like what we would call our main instrument, like from before that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
Because what's your main instrument if you had to pick one?
I mean, overall for my whole life, the drums.
Drums. And for me, it's typically guitar.
Yeah. And I played bass for about 7 or 8 years. It was like progressive indie rock kind of.
Yeah.
And that was a lot of fun.
Yep. Well, in the other band that I was in around that same time frame, I decided to play drums. And I did that for about 1.5 years. Then we integrated.
You played drums in a band?
Yeah.
Oh, I must not remember that.
Yeah. Dude,
That's cool.
I mean, I was never great, but I don't think that was really the point. I had a blast, and I still enjoy playing drums.
I remember coming to a few of your shows, and I think one of them I came to, you were playing guitar.
That's because I switched later on, and I felt I wasn't adequate enough to carry the band as a drummer, which was true.
I think maybe I was never able to come to any of your guys' shows during that time when you played drums.
That may be it.
That might have been it, because I just don't remember you playing. But you were always able to play the drums and hold your own pretty well whenever we were playing music and stuff, because we really learned music together. So
yeah, we did.
We learned all the instruments all at once. I was a little more drum forward, you were more guitar forward.
Yep.
But we each had a pretty good understanding of all of the main band instruments, and which was a lot of fun. It helped our creativity.
Absolutely. I think the ability to bounce back and forth between instrument to instrument also helped us to understand how to craft a song a little bit better. And depending on who you asked at the time, we weren't good at crafting a song. But
yeah,
we learned a ton.
We kept going though.
Yeah.
We came up with so many songs and tried so many different things. We didn't care. And I wish that quality carried over into my 20s and now. Because I'm so in my own head all the time with that stuff.
I'm just so cookie cutter now in the way that I approach things that my outside the boxness is almost
And
non-existent.
that'll just give you diabetes
Fetus.
of your creativity.
Betis.
Yeah.
Diabetes.
You're going to get that high blood sugar, and then you're going to have a low blood sugar creativity crash. Yeah, I'm not going anywhere with this.
I've
Go
never
ahead.
looked at it that way before, but I will be sure to
Neither have I.
watch this episode again and see how it relates to my life.
It won't.
Well, dude, music is incredible, and obviously that's why we're here today to talk about it. But the skill set that I've picked up, how far I've come in my music journey, which I make music still. You can look up my name online, whether you're on Spotify or other streaming services, and you'll find it there. And it's not really a shameless plug. It's just if anyone's interested to hear what I'm capable of, they're more than welcome to check it out. But, I'd say I've come a long way. I honestly haven't heard you play in quite some time, and it's something that I'm curious to hear, and I'd like to hear you play drums, and we should probably jam at some point.
Yeah, we should. I mean, you got a sweet drum set now,
I do.
and it's one that you can play and not disturb your neighbors.
Yeah, which is really nice.
Yeah,
Because that's the worst part about a drum set.
yeah.
Who you're going to bother. I'm just warming up my voice for when I sing later. Did you like that?
That was great. Yeah, that was some nice falsetto you just hit.
That's what it was for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. It'd be cool to jam again because it's been so long, and I'm sure after we do this walk down memory lane of the music
Yeah.
that made us, it would probably be something well worth doing.
I think we've been really busy kind of pursuing some other creative projects.
Yeah.
Like kind of what we're doing here. And so like I just don't think music has been, I mean, we've both been focusing on music kind of separately for a long time, but like it would definitely be cool to do something.
Yeah.
Even just for fun. Like just start out doing it just for the sake of fun. And something happens with it, great, but like don't make it about that, just like let's just have fun with it,
Yeah, I'd like to have a music project that doesn't have a goal in mind, and it's something that I
Yeah.
can sit down and just make something without the pressure of how's this going to perform or are people going to like it, kind of like when we were younger.
Yeah.
And we got that ethos absolutely from the punk bands, the pop punk bands, the punk rock bands that we listened to, because there was a lack of concern for what people thought of them.
Yeah. And I never really thought about that. Like, I mean, I thought about that aspect of those bands, but I never really thought about how that affected us. Like, I think that was really good for us because, like, man, people just it's so hard just to get in your own head with creative stuff. And I think that's really helped me because I might not be a professional musician, but my professional skill sets that I've developed for my career are very creative based. And so I've had to fight a lot of those same battles of creativity and feeling like you can share that with people and feeling being in your own head, you're in your own head, whether like people are going to like it or not, or having imposter syndrome and all that kind of stuff. So like,
Are you not the real Jaron?
I'm not. Yeah.
You look just like him, so
Yeah.
nice job. If it's a mask, that's a good one.
It's some new mask technology.
I can tell. It's very well done.
Yeah. Something that was developed during COVID.
Oh,
The mask industry came a long way.
it did.
Yeah,
And it made
so-
a lot of money, too.
Yeah.
A lot of money.
Yeah, it did.
Yes, it did.
Anyway, moving on.
Yeah, let's move on.
Yeah. But yeah. So yeah, let's you want to talk about one of them now?
Yeah, let's talk about one of the bands with the biggest I don't care attitude and had no concern of what people thought for them. And we've briefly talked about them, but Blink-182?
Blink-182. Oh yeah, we already mentioned it.
We did. But
I'm so good at keeping track of things.
oh, I'm not either, so it's funny how we're making a podcast together when neither of us have a train of thought that can be consistent and stay on point.
Yeah. Well, I mean, two half brains equals a whole brain.
Yes, but what do 2 quarter brains
Yeah, I was
equal?
going to say that's not the math we're doing here.
Rough math says it's almost a brain.
Our 2 quarter brains combined is like 5/8 of a brain. So
I can't agree or disagree because math is not my forte. I'm more of a music guy, bro. I can count to 4 and that's it.
Actually, all jokes aside, though, like I look at music very mathematically, especially like drums.
Yeah. Oh, you have to with drums.
Yeah. Like I'm not saying I don't feel the music, but I'm just saying like I am a very math-minded kind of person, and I don't know. I think that's helped me a lot with like learning music and all that kind of stuff. And even note-based instruments.
Yeah, you've always kind of played like a machine. And I don't mean that like you don't play 100% robotically, but the way that your fingers...
You said robotically?
Robotically. The way that your fingers go on the frets, I've noticed like you have a very methodical way about it, whereas I'm like stretching my hand to do things that it
That's
probably shouldn't do.
I have big sausage fingers. That's the way I do that.
So do the Ninja Turtles, but they don't play guitar. Actually, they might in an episode. But on the note of mathematical drumming... I imagine that there's a drummer who probably shares the same approach as you do in Blink-182. What's his name?
Bob Barker.
Bravis Charker.
Oh, Mavis speaking.
Yes. Travis Barker.
Travis Barker.
What a drummer, dude.
Yeah, dude. There's no one like him.
No, there's not.
Yeah. He was definitely my biggest inspiration for drums in our pop punk kind of era.
Yeah.
And that was hard looking up to him because like we wanted to sound like them. You guys kind of pushed me to like learn and kind of play more like him, and I just like felt so far away from that. Like it was like an impossible goal, And that was like really hard for me to even back then when we were newer and like not very skilled.
Of course.
It was really hard for me to like even do the simpler beats that he does.
Which isn't a hard beat. That's actually pretty easy.
Yeah, because it sounded like a fart.
Dude, he's incredible. And I think the thing that's worth discussing with him is not only is he a creative drummer, he is a technically proficient drummer too. And the things that he would pull off, they would sound so natural and effortless. And in your mind, you can process them. But when it came time to executing something like he was doing, you just feel like you're years behind his skill level, decades behind his skill level. Dude, he's been playing since he was like 10. Mm-hmm. And obviously getting introduced into music at that age and having the ability to practice and learn things the right way at a young age, I think you have the ability to excel a little bit quicker. Where we were at a slight disadvantage because we were, 13 at the time?
Yeah, I would say.
No one was really teaching us, but dude, his drumming obviously was an inspiration to the way that we wanted to sound, to the way that you wanted to sound as a drummer. He still inspires me when I play drums to this day. And
dude, like I remember like there was a song we wanted to do where there was like a fast bass kick part, and we thought that we had to buy a double bass pedal to achieve that, which is so not even true.
No.
Back then, we just couldn't comprehend doing a single bass kick that fast.
Yep.
Now, like looking back on that, that's so easy what we were trying to do. But it was just funny. Like we just didn't know any better.
No, we had no one to teach us but the music that we listened to and our own skill set to try and pull it off, which says a lot, though. That's a pretty cool thing.
There wasn't even YouTube. Like YouTube came out in probably 2006, I think. And even then, like, it was years before there was like a lot of that kind of content out.
And there weren't many lessons.
And you just couldn't you couldn't look up a drum tutorial back then.
Yeah. Well, I guess
we figured it out.
We did. On the note of Blink-182 and being outside of our technical skill level, what do you feel they inspired us to do that was within our skill level?
I think they probably inspired us with just energy.
Yeah.
And having fun.
Yep.
I think they inspired us vocally, drums, guitar riffs. I know, like, even though the bass parts were pretty simple, there was a sound to them, a tone that we really liked.
The Mark Hoppus tone.
Yeah, we bought the same pickups that he had in his bass and put them in our basses.
Yeah, we did.
And, I still have that bass. It's really sweet.
I gave mine to our friend who still has it, but it's not as playable as it used to be, which is unfortunate.
Yeah. So, anyway, dude, what do you think? How do you think they inspired us?
Kind of what you had just mentioned, but they had a very simple approach to their songwriting as a whole, which we may have tried to exceed that to interject our own creativity, which is a problem that younger bands typically have, is they want to showcase their skill set and their talent that they do have by overcomplicating things rather than letting a song shine through. But beyond that, we definitely picked up on their energy. I think when people who watched us play back then realized we were having a lot of fun playing our shows and didn't really care what we sounded like as much because we didn't have that concern. But Tom DeLong, the guitar player who also was one of the main two singers, I would say that his riffage, his ability to write a guitar part was gnarly, dude. It was gnarly.
Sorry, I'm laughing because have you ever spilled coffee on a white shirt during a podcast? Because I just did that. So
I don't want to say.
I'm going to put this down.
I don't want to say yes or no because if I answer that, it might happen to me.
Anyway, so that happened.
I won't even talk
Sorry,
about it.
I couldn't compose myself after that.
Did I miss the whole thing?
Yeah. I'm like spilled. I'm like,
dude, it looks like graffiti. It's artistic.
Yeah, that's fine.
Artistic. I just want to clarify that those are the words that I said.
Oh yeah, you weren't mentioning that tism.
No.
So
no neurodiversity in that conversation. Yeah. But the goofball
there's
approach,
neurodiversity in all of our conversations. Let's just be honest.
Oh, for sure. And I think that's inspired by the idiots that we watch play music. No joke. I think that their form of humor is another thing that really shaped us.
Oh, yeah.
Well within our reach. Not that we're anywhere near as funny
they were
as
young back then, and like they put out videos and stuff we used to watch, and like we just like really idolized them.
Yep.
And they were just goofy and fun. Like they were in their 20s.
Right when they were becoming popular, and we were getting into that.
And they kind of had like junior high kind of humor. And we were in junior high, so we connected with them.
Yeah, it's almost like they knew who their audience was.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, but also I think that's just who they were as human beings at that time, so it conveniently worked for them. But I think I kind of hit the nail on the head of the things that they inspired that were within our skill set. But musically, dude, how about their sound?
Yeah.
Oh.
What is your favorite part about their sound?
Well, it comes from their production more than anything else. And the way that everything was crystal clear, pristine, and audible and had a place within the mix. Like, dude, the drums are punchy and up front.
And no,
right.
Audible is not our sponsor for this episode, just to be clear.
No, they're not. But if there's an ebook on Blink-182 on Audible, by all means, go check it out.
For sure.
Sonically, dude, it was just pleasing to the ear. I freaking loved it, man.
Dude, especially when we finally got higher quality recordings.
Oh, yeah.
Because honestly, dude, those 64 kbps recordings of Blink were a little bit rough.
A little bit is an understatement.
Everything just sounded blended together. It was just one meshed sound, which it still did it for us back then. It was, but like once you got the high quality, it's like, wow.
Yep, it was a garbled, digitized mess, and it was impossible to hear. Dude, I went back and listened to Take Off Your Pants and Jacket, I think 2 years ago, in high fidelity with a good set of headphones that I used to mix. And I did not realize how good that album sounded. Even compared to today's standards, you would assume that there's some type of digital production enhancing the overall quality of instrumentation, which, to be honest with you, isn't really a thing anyways. I think we had that perception that computers aided in the sound, but they did not. The gear that you used to capture the audio was what made it sound so good. And their engineer, who unfortunately passed and also was a producer on their albums...
He passed what? Like a kidney stone?
He passed to the nether.
Oh, okay.
To the great beyond.
Gotcha. Neverland.
Yeah, he is beyond Earth now.
Okay.
He be gone. He gone.
Yes, he gone.
He gone. Jerry Finn. I appreciated his work on those albums. Enema of the State, Take Off Your Pants and Jacket, specifically the Untitled album. Dude, the tone. Holy cow.
Yeah, that was a big step up, huh?
Yeah. Well, what about their sound was it for you?
Yeah, I think like musically. I love the bass. Guitar tone's really awesome. The drums. I know that really wasn't specific. That's like everything. I think they had a way of like when they were very dynamic, you know. So like they knew how to just be so energetic with their sound, both both on their albums and live. But like, there was just this this full energetic sound that they had, like especially on like choruses and stuff like that. That this the blending of their sounds, and I think that's why like when you listen to it in low fidelity, like it just sounded bad because everything just sounded blended together. But then in high fidelity, like it still sounded like it blended, but it sounded pure. You know, you could hear the parts and everything. But yeah, there's just something about that, like that just you just can't sit back and relax and listen to their stuff. You know, it just really got me going. You know, it just made me get excited and amped up and stuff. And it was just fun and goofy, and you didn't feel nothing was too serious about it. Not that they didn't have anything that was serious,
right?
But
because they did towards their latter.
Yeah, but
releases.
mostly it was just fun, you know. And yeah, I think
the energy is what you're getting at.
Yeah, I think the energy is probably the biggest thing. But like, I guess more specifically, like, I think that the sound of Mark Hoppus's bass.
Yeah, dude.
And yeah, Tom DeLonge's voice is really unique. And the way their two voices sounded together was just awesome.
That's
like
what I was
neither
gonna
of them are
mention, too.
like the best vocalists in the world, but but together they just have such different voices that they just had a really good chemistry there.
Yep, they were dynamic and unique, and not only were they good at blending their voices, something that they did in their more successful commercial releases was the ability to blend guitar parts together too, not just rhythm and lead, but to have like a guitar part with two different notes in one ear that would form a chord, for instance, and that really started happening on their Untitled stuff.
Yeah.
Where you would get this really experimental approach to tracking guitars and layering in a different way, which we were already used to with their vocals, because they had this very pop-centric approach to how they would layer their harmonies and, you know, a melody with the second vocalist singing the same melody, but they'd each have their own harmony in an ear. It was so pleasing to listen to.
That's probably stuff like back then I wasn't super into that self-titled album. But I think those are things that you realized about those, or, you know, somehow you discovered some of their, you know, production processes and how they did that. And you were able to hear those things, and it really inspired you towards, like, for me, I wasn't dedicated to digging into that as much on that album at that time of my life. And so I think I didn't appreciate it as much, but like, that makes sense now that you like, because I know that's always been like, you've always really liked that album, especially.
Yeah, I don't think I can say it's my favorite.
Oh, really? I thought it was.
I don't know.
Okay.
They're a tough band for me to crack as far as what is a favorite album, and I know we've set out a goal to name our favorite album from those bands.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a struggle for me to answer that, to be very, very honest with you. But I think I have an answer.
Okay.
And if we want to do that right now, I'm on board.
Yeah. Let's do it. I think we should.
Okay. Do you want to do it on the count of 3, or do you just want me to reveal mine?
Just reveal yours.
Take off your pants and jacket.
Oh, yeah.
Sonically, the most pleasing of their albums.
Yeah.
Straightforward songwriting structure that was simplified. Got the point across, had a bit of emotional depth to it, had a lot of that goofball nature, but also had some of the coolest, cleanest riffs that band has probably ever come up with, and that remains to be seen with their new album about to be released, which I'm very optimistic for. So there's a chance that could change. But dude, I would, as much as I hate to say it, probably put the self-titled behind that. But it's just because as a piece of art, it was for a different,
probably their most advanced for their earlier era.
Yeah, but there's songs on there to me that don't hold a candle to some of Blink's greatest work in their prime. And it's not to say the album's bad. I love the album. I'm sure my opinion could change on a daily basis that I might put that one in number 1. But that's what I would ultimately state is it's tough because some of them are so close in ranking. But I think if I had to pick one, take off your pants and jacket. So how about you?
Yeah. To me, it's not even close.
Okay.
Take off your pants and jacket.
Yeah?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Not
Dude,
even close.
Story of a Lonely Guy.
Yes.
That clean riff going into that verse.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, The musicality on that album was
Yeah.
so good.
So I'll say that I'll say that Story of the Lonely Guy is probably my all-time favorite song of Blink.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
What are some of your other favorite songs?
you want me to do that now?
Yeah.
So we're gonna share our 3 favorite songs.
Let's go.
I would say Story of a Lonely Guy, Anthem Part 2,
Okay.
and the first one off of Neighborhoods. Is it Ghost on the Dance Floor?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. So these don't have a particular order. They're just 3 of my favorite songs from Blink. One is also Ghost on the Dance Floor.
Oh, nice.
And when I see them live, I hope that they open the show with that song.
That'd be awesome, dude. That's just a really cool song. Like, yeah. Go ahead.
100%. This one's kind of abstract and a little unexpected, but I don't know which one to pick because there's 2 that are very close off of Dogs Eating Dogs for me, which was their EP. It's technically not an album. Came out in 2012. They released it themselves, but When I Was Young is an absolute banger of a song. It's got a good bit of reflection looking back on your younger life and how everything has changed. So I think for me, in that era when I was having, where my son was born, that was pretty big to me, was reflecting on how much my life had changed versus when I was young.
Yeah.
And then if I had to choose another one, man, that's so tough. I've always had a soft spot for Please Take Me Home off of Take Off Your Pants and Jacket.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know why. I know it's not like their biggest song, and it's very close with Every Time I Look For You. I like their songs in the key of B.
All of those are that on?
All of those are in the key of B, by the way.
Oh. Okay, nice.
Take Off Your Pants and Jacket. It's the closer.
Okay,
Please take me home.
No, I know that one. What was the other one you said?
Every time I look for you, the sun goes down. Yeah. Freaking love that one.
I'm not always good with remembering the names, but
Sometimes it's more about like the song itself that you remember.
Yep.
I can't give a clear-cut answer because it's tough, but
yeah.
Just to recap, what are yours again?
Story of a Lonely Guy, Anthem Part 2, and Ghost on the Dance Floor.
Okay. Ghost on the Dance Floor, When I Was Young, and Please Take Me Home.
Nice. It's good. It's a good set.
Yep.
Yeah.
Whew. Before we get done talking about Blink, I do want to showcase that I'm wearing my Angels and Airwaves shirt.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I'm not sure if everybody is familiar with Angels and Airwaves.
No. What I want to know is what the heck does that have to do with Blink-182?
What does that have to do with Blink-182?
I know the answer to this. I just wanted you to tell everyone.
So they broke up in 2003, which was, I'm not going to say it was traumatic, but it was a bummer.
Yeah, it was.
It sucked because I think that's when we were really getting into them and we were really anticipating something.
As soon as we got really into them, they broke up.
Didn't that suck? Dude, everyone else had kind of already established they were into them, and we were a little bit late to the Blink party.
I'll tell you what really sucked is you guys got on the Blink train, and I kind of like didn't jump on the. I was kind of like refusing. I didn't really like them.
Yeah.
And then finally, I'm like, you know what? I'm starting to really like them.
Yeah.
And as soon as I kind of jumped on the bandwagon, that's when they broke up. So,
dude, that was
neat.
Which is funny because one of our friends tried getting me into them prior to me trying to get you into it, and him subsequently getting you into it as well. I was resistant. I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know if I really like this.
Yeah.
Which is funny. Here they are, one of my favorite bands of all time. But Angels and Airwaves was a side project from Tom DeLonge. Well, it became his main project after Blink broke up. The dynamic with the band wasn't great, and I don't think Tom had any intent of slowing down. He had song ideas he wanted to do. He had these grandiose ideas and visions for the next album he wanted to make, and I don't think he could have made it with Blink. And I will say one of my most influential albums of all time is We Don't Need to Whisper by Angels and Airwaves, and it has higher regard in my mind than any of Blink's discography. Dude, it's so freaking good.
What year did that come out?
2006.
Was that their first one?
Yeah.
I thought that was called something else.
Nope, We Don't Need to Whisper.
That was the name of the album?
It was some of Tom's best work.
Yeah, that was a good album.
Did you like Boxcar Racer, though?
Yeah.
Which was his side project while Blink was still around.
And that was probably like, what, 2004 or something?
No, 2002. It was before the self-titled.
That's right.
Which created their tension.
You know, I first heard one of their songs on, it was a video game that I played at my cousin's house in 2005 on the GameCube.
And
it was like maybe an ATV racing game or something.
Okay.
And I want to say it was like I Feel So.
I Feel So.
Or maybe And I.
It could have been All Systems Go. Also?
Wasn't that? It was either I Feel So or And I.
Dude, the drumming on that album was so cool.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
it was.
dude.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
That was some good stuff.
Dude, that's what... I'm trying to think how to phrase this. That's the thing about Blink and the members of those bands, the projects that they have made, it doesn't stop with Blink itself. The work that those guys had put into creating a genre, into creating landscapes of sounds is unbelievable. And I am so thankful I got to be around when those albums were coming out. I hope you feel the same way.
It was a time to be alive.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. We'll never, well, I won't say never. We'll probably never get like a pop punk era like we did when we were teenagers.
No, and it is resurging. There's definitely a bit of a resurgence now, but it's still kind of beneath the main pop songs.
Sure. Punk was always a little beneath the main pop songs, but
it was in the top 40 during our lifetime.
it's still not.
There was a band that dominated top 40 when their album came out. I think they had a total of 6 songs off the album that were all top 40 hits. Do you know who it is?
Is it the one we're going to talk about next?
It is.
Okay. So here's the thing. You might be thinking, wow, Jaron and Alex are obsessed with Blink-182. That's like their favorite band ever.
There couldn't possibly anything else that tops them.
Yes, but there is one.
The One Ring?
One.
The one band to rule them all?
The one band to rule them all. The one band
to bind them?
Yeah.
Who be it, Jaron?
That band is Green Day.
Green Day.
Green Day.
Green Day.
Yes.
I'll probably never talk like that again.
Hopefully not. But
Green Day.
Which we already mentioned them, didn't we? Because we talked about the American Idiot album, didn't we?
We did, but they're worth delving into further, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. So
what is there to be said?
Oh, I don't even know.
Nothing? Do we just move on?
Yeah,
let's just move on.
Yeah, let's move on.
Trying to find a comfortable position on this
I know.
couch.
We need to get we need to get some new furniture.
We do.
Like, we need like 2 separate chairs.
We do.
Yeah. This thing starts hurting my butt after a while, but
yeah. The intent of this place wasn't to be a podcast studio. It was just a place where I hang out and. No.
You didn't get this place and was like, oh, this is going to be my podcast studio.
Yes, 5 years ago, I moved in here and said, this room will be a podcast studio.
In 5 years.
In 5 years. I did not.
Yeah, but
Green Day.
Yeah, dude. Nothing. Yeah, like we were saying about American Idiot. Nothing shaped us like the album. And getting into Green Day. And I think once we got that album and listened to it, we just instantly fell in love with it, and then it just opened a can of worms.
Yeah, it really did.
So then we started we got a hold of their other albums somehow. Like I don't know. I think you bought a few of them, but then also we acquired some other ones.
I bought a couple. I had the one that was given to us as a burned copy that we then took home and downloaded onto our computers. And then I had a friend in high school who was also in a band. He played bass in one of the local bands. He was an expert of all things, everything. But he let me borrow his CD collection, which was really cool because he was like, dude, I love that you're into the same genre of music. I want you to download it and copy it onto your computer. And I got like every Green Day album that I didn't have.
You some. Oh yeah, he gave you a big collection. He gave you a lot of those 64 kbps hitters.
That was my choice because a lot of them were studio albums on CD.
You know why? You know why we did that?
Because we didn't have room on our MP3 players
it was
for anything
MP3
else.
players. You know? We had like those. I had my first was like 128 megabyte. You got that 1.5 gigabyte one.
My first one was, I think, 128 as well.
Okay.
But it didn't last very long. I think it broke.
But you got one that was 1.5 gig, and we're like, what's a gig?
Yeah.
A gigabyte was a new thing to us back then.
Yeah, that was astounding to find out that you could have 100 albums on a device at 64 kbps, which, whatever. We learned from that.
Yeah, we did. And I don't think we had the ear back then to really tell much of a difference.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, and I didn't. And I don't think you did either.
I didn't either.
Yeah.
And you didn't either.
True. So, but
Okay.
yeah. So, what's your favorite? Like, what do you think your favorite aspects of Green Day are? Like, what made you really just? I don't want to say fall in love with them. That sounds kind of insert insensitive adjective here. But what do you think?
First and foremost, the energy, without a doubt. But more so the musical energy. Green Day were excellent performers. They would go on stage and they
Oh,
would
yeah.
kill it, no doubt about it. They were
Yeah.
by far a better band than Blink 182
Oh,
when
yeah.
it came to performing.
Yep.
But they'd also been a band for,
Quite a bit
I
longer.
think, going on 20 years at the time that American Idiot came out, if not just under that. But the percussive nature of their music, dude, when a note hit, it freaking hit.
Yeah.
I mean, everything had so much intent and purpose behind it. Not to say that Blink in comparison didn't have that, but where Blink had attitude, Green Day had like spunk, if that makes sense.
I was going to say angst.
Well,
But
they had-
spunk is like kind of the same thing, isn't it?
Dude, they had like firm direction. Like
Yeah.
it felt like every hit was supposed to be where it was.
Yeah, dude. It's true. They were very solid and accurate and precise.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah.
I think a lot of that came from their production too, though.
Yeah, they did like Blink had some great production, but probably not to the level Green Day did.
It's tough to say because some people might say one aspect of a record is better than another
Yeah.
because of personal preference, but I can look at each individually and say these are incredible albums.
Mm-hmm.
But when listening back to American Idiot, there are things that I still hear to this day that I go,
Yeah.
man, that's awesome.
Yeah, there's just like nothing like it. Nothing like it. Yeah, nothing like American Idiot. Ooh.
That's when their percussive nature became more upfront too, I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure. Dude, the layering of the guitars on that album.
Yeah.
Oh.
There's just some, okay, so like there's just something about when you hear the sounds of that album makes you feel a certain way that nothing else can.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That guitar tone on American Idiot on the intro, when that
Yep.
starts playing, there's just nothing else in this world that sounds like that.
Yeah, dude, there was a lot of thought, care, and concern that went into each type of amp and each type of guitar that was used to track those parts. And like, there were certain parts of that album because of how dynamic it was with its ups and downs that certain guitar parts like stick in your memory. And you're like, if I had a guitar sound a certain way, I wanted it to sound like that. And we carried that over a lot. So I think more than anything else, Green Day inspired our tone more than Blink even did. With like the sound that we wanted to have sometimes.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure.
Oh, man.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, it was good stuff.
How did you feel about their songwriting? Because Blink had a more straightforward approach that was like, oh, I'm a teen and my life really sucks kind
Yeah.
of vibe. And I don't actually look at them that way, but I could see how people perceive them as that.
Yeah, I think overall, I mean, Green Day, they had more talent and more. Yeah, their songwriting was more advanced. That doesn't mean it was better. That doesn't mean that like. It just means, in certain aspects. Like I think Blink definitely had an energy that the Green Day didn't have, a type of energy. But yeah, the talent though with their songwriting and all that stuff. I mean.
Yeah.
There was a lot of depth to it, a ton of depth, and there wasn't much depth to Blink. And we don't need to sit here and compare every aspect of Blink versus Green Day, but
Right.
I'm just saying, like, there's a lot of pros and cons for each band, and I think that we were able to get, more of a well-rounded influence by looking up to multiple bands like that.
Oh, absolutely. Did you know that later in this year they'll be playing a show together?
Oh, what?
Yeah, they're playing at a festival called When We Were Young, which is a throwback to all of our 90s, 2000s alternative pop punk emo bands.
Where?
Vegas. 2 days.
You know how cheap it is to fly there?
Cheaper than the tickets for the event.
How much? Well,
It's like $250 for a pass.
that's kind of a lot.
But dude,
When is it?
I think it's in October.
Dude,
Las Vegas. Yeah, it'd be sweet to go.
we should look into it.
I would love to go. I think our other friend,
Have
we'll
him
name
meet
him.
us there.
I don't think he'd care if we name him. Our friend Zach.
Yeah.
He had already mentioned that he might be able to get us some tickets to that show.
He lives closer there.
Yep, and
He
he's
can meet
somewhat
us
in
there.
that industry too, so he knows some people that might be able to help us out. But we could always buy general admission passes and go see two of our favorite bands of all time.
Because they played together back in like It was like what, the Honda Civic Tour or something?
I can tell you what it was.
What was it?
2001 Pop Disaster Tour. And they really disliked each other.
Why did I say Honda Civic Tour? Was that ever a thing?
Blink went on it one time after
Okay,
they
but
got
that
back
wasn't
together.
okay. I don't know what I'm talking about. But anyway.
Oh, no, it was relevant because Blink did go on that tour.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, they didn't like each other, which is funny. But we can get back to that in a bit.
Yeah.
You know?
There was more competition back then with stuff like that.
For sure. But that's actually probably worth noting because you can't really talk about Green Day without talking about their return to success in 2004 with American Idiot. It escalated them to a level of success that they had never had before. Mm-hmm. And they were already the pop punk darlings of modern radio. There was no doubt about it with their critically acclaimed release Dookie in 1993, which took 94 took everybody by storm. Did it not? Based off the way that it's talked about?
Yeah. I mean, obviously I wasn't in that scene in 94, but that's all I've ever heard about it. Was that, and they took a lot of flack. A lot of people called them sellouts with American Idiot.
They called them that before too.
But yeah, I mean, I have a lot of thoughts about that I won't get into, but I mean, that album was beyond amazing. And there's no one should discredit that by saying, they're sellouts. Like they legitimately had the talent involved in that album and it was amazing. So they weren't sellouts.
Oh, dude.
Just because people liked it and it became really popular, they're sellouts. You know what I mean? Like
I do. Yeah. I've never understood that phrase because the ideal dream is a musician or an artist creating a piece of music that you want somebody to listen to and enjoy is exactly what I just said. You want people to listen to it and enjoy it.
Yeah.
Now, I get that you can craft your sound to try and appease as many people as possible while losing more of that personal touch that makes you as an artist you by honing in on an easy A and trying to make everyone happy with a pop hit.
Like an A5? Like an A5? Or just... What's an easy A? Just an A note by itself?
I'm talking about the grade. You're talking about the chord.
Okay, yeah.
That was appropriate.
Sorry.
I liked it.
Yeah.
I'll give you a round of applause. But look at what they did. They didn't make a mass appealing record. They made the best work of their lives, and it was appreciated as such. Dude, I don't feel like they were going for radio play. Why would that be a radio-centric sound? It wasn't. It changed radio in 2004 to where every pop punk band wanted to be like Green Day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I am. Sorry, I'm thinking deeply about it.
Well, while you're thinking...
You would think that I would have some profound thing to share, but I don't. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
Well, while you're thinking, in reference to Blink and Green Day not liking each other, it was kind of funny because I think Green Day came on the scene in 94, right? Did
you
really
said
well.
Green Day?
Yeah.
Well, on the big scene.
Yeah.
They were around before that. But yeah,
they became mainstream in 94.
Mm-hmm.
Blink became popular in 1999 as Green Day's success was waning. Blink became giant in 2001 with the release of Take Off Your Pants and Jacket. Mm-hmm. Green Day was waning. Mm-hmm. Green Day saw the success of Blink's 2003 album, the Untitled one, and said, we have to surpass that. We need to make something bigger. We need to tell a grand story. We need to have something relevant to say. Here comes American Idiot surpassing Blink. Blink breaks up. Green Day goes further. It's funny how, as much as they disliked each other, their successes pushed each other to be a better band. I firmly believe that.
And that's how competition works.
Yes, and competition is good.
Yeah.
So, not to sit here and continually pit them against each other, but I don't think one without the other would have had the success that they had.
I don't think it has to be nasty competition. It can be healthy.
Right.
But I think that's a good thing as a general concept, that competition really does help. It helps make each other better. It helps other artists be better. It helps other, businesses be better and, all that kind of stuff. It's a good thing to kind of squash mediocrity.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I do.
And mediocrity is not a vegetable.
It is meaty, though. You did say that word, so I have no other thought besides food.
It's kind of a meat and a vegetable. It's like meaty, but also it's kind of like okra. So
I don't like okra.
Yeah.
I don't care for it.
Have you ever had that fried... Oh no, I was thinking Brussels sprouts. I get those confused sometimes.
Brussels sprouts are good.
Never mind. I digress.
Do you like those?
I don't like them, but I like the ones that you if at Longhorn Steakhouse they have the ones that are like they have like a
The maple ones.
yes
Yeah,
yes
they're like toasted instead of.
those don't even taste hardly like those are in a different category than regular. I don't they don't stink like they're just totally different.
Those are
Those
good.
are like candy more than they are vegetables. So
I love them.
yeah, they're good stuff.
They're also green.
Yeah, but they have like caramelization and like char on them or something, or maybe not char, but like they're caramelized.
They're caramelized.
So they're not as green as like a raw Brussels sprout.
Are they as green as Green Day?
Well, they're not even really green at all. They're more like black and red in a lot of cases.
Especially in that era that we found them.
Yeah, kind of like your mic right there, Heil.
Yeah, Heil is black and red.
Which the audience can't really see the red on top very well, but you could show them. You could flash your red. Yeah,
I just showed them.
I like it. So, yeah, man. So like, okay, you want to get into our favorites?
Of Green Day?
Yeah.
Um,
Or did you have something else to say before that?
The only thing that I would say is I think they're great storytellers, and I think that became abundantly clear with American Idiot. You can look back in retrospect and see that it's always been there. Mm-hmm. And I think that's one of my favorite things about them, whether it's Welcome to Paradise or Hitching a Ride. Like, there's always some type of story being told in the song that I think other artists couldn't accomplish. But yeah, I know why I love them. The giant bombastic production is everything to me, which inspired the producer inside of me to make music on my own. But yeah, I'm down. Let's go.
All right. So why don't you start us off by telling us your favorite Green Day album?
Man, I think it's pretty apparent. American Idiot. There's no doubt about it. But I have a nice secondary option for those who don't think that's a sufficient answer because we've talked about it already. But yeah, that's the one that inspired me to make music. I still go back and listen to it, and it still hits the same way now at 32 as it did when I was 13.
Yeah.
How about you?
13 going on 32.
Yep, that's me.
I'm going to say American Idiot is their best album.
It is. But what's your favorite?
I'm going to say my favorite is Nimrod.
Nice. I love that album.
Was that going to be your second?
I was going to say, but I felt that would be redundant. It's a little Green Day joke. That's the name of a song on that album.
Yeah. I see what you did there.
No.
Just a little bit of Green Day humor there for you.
A little bit of it. If you want to talk about Nimrod, I'll share what my backup was. Just my secondary answer. What do you like about it?
Nimrod? I think it there's just so many good songs in that album, and the production, like it was still really raw, but they recorded, it was analog recordings, right? Yep. Which just have a different sound to them.
They do.
It was just really punchy. That album is just so punchy. The first song, Nice Guys Finish Last, was just so stinking punchy. And there's just something, you really felt the drums and the bass really well. There was just a good blend of production quality, but still having that raw punk sound.
Do you know what I thought was really
90s.
Cool?
It's just so 90s.
It was. Do you know what I thought was really cool about that album? It was so creative in the way that each song kind of had like a different genre. Like,
yeah, there was a lot of different genres kind of represented on that.
Dude, that to me is like the most, well, it's not the most musically diverse album. I think Warning's probably their most creative in that sense. But Nimrod had such a cool vision for, I want to have a song that has like a Bob Dylan influence when they did, one with an acoustic guitar and a harmonica. And then one's like a surf song while you're listening to the waves crashing on a beach. And then, either way, you get my point. It was so cool. I guess my, how do I phrase this? My honorary mention would be Revolution Radio. It came out in 2016. To me, it was like the spiritual successor of American Idiot, but they recorded it themselves.
Spiritual successor.
Spiritual successor.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like it.
Dude, they recorded it themselves.
Ah.
They had no producer. They had their own studio. They had their own gear.
You mean like literally they recorded themselves?
They brought on their engineer to help them track stuff, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean they had to have somebody like
Yeah.
But I mean like
Dude.
so they actually that person just helped them track it. They actually produced it themselves though.
Yes.
Who headed that up in the band? Like who had the production skills?
All three of them.
Really?
I think it was a joint effort. I mean, obviously, Billy probably had a large say because Billy Joe Armstrong is very dead set in what he wants to accomplish, but I think there is a massive amount of respect for each band member.
That is crazy.
You didn't know that, did you?
I mean, not to that extent.
Dude, listening to that album, that came at such a cool time in my life, too, so I have a lot of love for that one.
Yeah. Yeah. What were you saying? That was your second one? Second
that's
favorite?
my honorary mention.
Oh, okay, yeah. And I like that one. I probably didn't get into it as much as you, and not because I didn't like it. I just think it would. Sometimes things come out in a time of your life when you're more or less into music or just like, or whatever, you know. And that's probably the case during that time for me. But yeah, man. American Idiot, good stuff. Nimrod, good stuff, man.
All of it's good stuff.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't think there's any album I don't like. There's albums I might be like a little less, but I would listen to any one of them at any time, you know. So, and they have a lot of good ones.
They do.
You want to talk about our favorite songs?
Yeah.
So, top three. What are your top three favorite Green Day songs?
Again, not in any particular order because I don't think that's fair. Letter Bomb from American Idiot is awesome. Just as a standalone song, a song within the album,
That
everything
is a good
about
one.
it is top tier. I was a huge fan of the Trilogy albums. And even though people despise them for whatever reason they did, I had a lot of love for them because I love playing along with them on guitar. Or I love playing along to them on guitar. That's how I want to phrase that. As much as I don't want to say it, Oh Love is an incredible song that I think was highly underappreciated. And again, at the time of my life where I was at and how much I enjoyed it, incredible. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And then a third pick for a favorite Green Day song. Man. I never really have clear-cut answers because there's these songs that hold a high place, you know, in my mind. It would have to be epic. It would have to be huge. And I imagine it would be Jesus of Suburbia.
Is that your second one you said?
That's my third one.
Oh. Yeah, that's good stuff, dude. What was your first and second one?
First would be Letter Bomb. Second one would be Oh Love off of Uno. And then Jesus of Suburbia off of American Idiot.
Nice, dude. Yeah,
And again, these aren't like definitive answers. I could give you so many songs that I think could compete for those spots, but yeah. How about you?
I think Redundant off of Nimrod.
Yeah.
And
great song.
Yeah. This is going to be kind of a weird one, but it's just one of my favorites, and that is Macy's Day Parade.
That's a great song.
Yeah, off of Warning.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And that's not like their normal style, but I just love it. That just song. I think that it was because it hit me during a time of my life. I was like, I think 15, and I was listening to that album, and there was just some things going on that I kind of associate with that.
Was there a little like young love?
Well, I'm not going to say any of that. I'm not going to admit any of that.
You don't have to. I mean, I know what was going on in your life
you know
at the time.
You know what it was.
Yeah.
And those memories associated have nothing to do with that person.
Right.
I don't think about that person at all.
It just reminds you of that time in your life.
I do think about that time and kind of how I felt and stuff like that.
Yep.
So.
Dude, you know what? That's a great song.
Yeah.
I would slot that in somewhere in my top 3 interchangeably for sure.
Yeah, yeah. And then I would say, I think my third one is definitely Jesus of Suburbia.
It's got to be on there.
Yeah. When I made this list earlier, that wasn't on there. I wasn't thinking clearly. But then a little earlier, I was like, oh, that needs to be my third one. And that was before you said anything about it being yours.
I always knew that it was most likely going to wind up there because it could not. I didn't want to have 2 songs from American Idiot, and I didn't necessarily want a song from the trilogy, but those were songs at a point in time in my life that really pushed my passion for music to a higher place.
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I get what you're saying, dude. Yeah, memories, I think, form the song more than the song itself sometimes.
Yeah. Yep. So here's the deal.
Yeah.
We're going to keep talking,
Yep.
and I'm going to do something I hate to do, but is totally acceptable to do on a podcast in 2023.
And what's that?
And I'm going to have to ask for a quick bathroom break.
That's okay. I'll allow it.
All
We'll
right.
jump back
All right.
in.
Sounds
We'll entertain
good.
the folks with something else in between.
All right. Sounds good. We'll
Cool.
be right back.
We'll be right back.
Alex.
Yeah.
We have a problem.
What's the problem?
This toilet paper's out.
Oh, I mean, it's not a problem because I got another one right here.
Oh, wow.
You want to put it on there for you?
Yeah, that'd be great. I mean, yeah.
Okay. Well,
I like that.
I think this should be pretty simple, as any logical person would. I'm going to put the toilet paper over.
Okay. I think you should put it under.
I don't think I should. Why would I put it under?
Just easier to grab.
Easier to grab. You're going to reach behind what's in front of you?
No, I'm not going to reach because it's just already dangling.
Right, but your hand is up here and you're reaching further back to grab?
Yeah, because it looks more like, when you're looking at it, it looks more like it has a mullet.
Jaron, I don't think we're going to solve this between the two of us.
Probably not.
You know what we need to do?
Probably post a poll on a domain and let people help us decide.
Yeah, so listeners, head over to overorunder.net and cast your vote because this debate has gone on long enough and it's time to solve this issue once and for all. Does toilet paper go over or does it go under?
Yeah. Overunder.net. Help us out.
Go there now.
Now. Nice.
Yeah.
What do you got there, Alex?
A heavy load. Which is funny because we're now back after you've been to the bathroom. How do you feel, Jaron?
I feel better. I do.
Cool.
Some things are just timely, and that was one of them.
Well, I'm glad we had an opportunity to do that because that gave me a second to think about something. And we typically stare at my guitars because they're on the wall behind us when we film. And we've spent all this time discussing the music that's influenced us. And with Blink-182 being one of those, Tom DeLonge had a signature Fender guitar that I absolutely loved and I never had the opportunity to buy. And now they're like $1,500. Did you know that?
I did not.
Yeah, so the Stratocasters that he had through Fender that were his signatures are really expensive now. But what's funny is I've kind of recreated it here with a Telecaster, and Telecasters are my favorite guitars.
Ah, is that a thin line?
No, it's a Cabronita. So it has these really unique pickups that are called Fidelitrons, which are supposed to mimic like a rockabilly style pickup that Fender typically didn't make.
Oh.
But either way, this guitar is surf green, like Tom DeLonge's Strat.
Uh-huh.
Yep, and it has a Perloid pickguard.
Ah.
And a single volume knob.
Oh.
So this is like the ethos of Blink.
That's so punk rock right there.
Thanks, man.
Like having the single volume knob, you know?
It is.
Yeah.
I thought you were complimenting
like
me.
just bare bones, you know?
Yeah.
That really is the essence of punk with like music and stuff, just bare bones.
It is.
Drums, bass, guitars are all like that.
Yep, but the problem with this one is it exceeds the typical bare bones nature of a pop punk guitar because it has a pickup selector.
Oh, that thing's a piece of junk then.
Yeah, this thing sucks. Just throw it out.
So
yeah.
you kind of how did you custom order that? How did you make this a like a fake, well, I don't want to say fake. How'd you do this?
I bought the guitar used on Reverb for about $540, which now it's probably worth about $900, which is really cool. And all I did was put on the Perloid pickguard. So for those who want to see it, I'm trying to think of a good way to do this. Like that.
Yeah, I can see it.
It's kind of reflective.
Oh,
it's the pattern. Sorry, Jaron.
No,
right
it's
there.
okay. We'll get some. We'll get some color correction going so they can see that.
Cool. Well, I'm not
Perloid.
going to hold this forever, but yeah, it's just something that this guitar means a lot to me because it imitates one of my guitar idols, and it's something I'm really happy with and very proud of, and I love this guitar.
Yeah,
It's very cool.
Your favorite one?
That's tough to say. I've got a lot of guitars that I use, and my favorite's another Telecaster. It's the guitar player from the Foo Fighters. His name is Chris Shiflett. He's the lead guitar player, one of the two that they have, and He has a Telecaster that's meant to imitate a Les Paul in Telecaster form, which is very rare, but that's pickup selection. So
Ooh.
I love that thing. But either way, this is probably my
Yeah.
favorite one to look at and
This is
just
your most
appreciate.
sentimental one, maybe, or something, or I don't know.
I guess this one is like a guitar of my youth that I wished I could have had back then, but now that
Yeah.
I'm older and can afford nicer things, this is a representation of that in my adult life.
Like some 3-ply,
yes.
which I
like,
enjoyed a little bit ago.
Like high quality toilet paper.
Yeah,
All right, I'm going to set this down.
sounds good. Yeah, that's nice, dude. I remember, we used to just dream of having stuff like that. So it's nice that you can finally have one of those premium axes.
Yeah.
Axi.
If it were up to me, I'd use that axe to chop down a tree and make another guitar.
I'll probably make more.
I could. Then I can make money by repeating the process.
Dude, I feel like if you got a guitar and you chopped down a tree and made 10 more guitars, and then you took those 10 guitars and chopped down 100, like, I just feel like it's like infinite guitars. Has anyone thought of that?
I don't think so. You're probably the first to develop that business idea. You should run with it.
I might cut this part out of the podcast so no one steals that idea.
Was that a pun? Cut?
No, it wasn't.
Like a tree?
No,
Okay, well, let's move on.
but I like it.
All right, so now that we're back and we've had a chance to sit back and think, I want to make an amendment. Because while you were in the bathroom, I started
Which
singing.
article of the Constitution do you want to make an amendment to?
I don't know. I started singing a Blink song. You know what? I just want to add a fourth favorite, Always, which is also in the key of B, off of the self-titled album. Freaking love it. Untitled
Always.
album.
How does that go? Always.
And I've been here before a few times.
Oh yeah,
Come on, let me hold you.
that's a good one.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear him play it on tour.
You know what's in the key of B?
What's that?
Out of my favorites.
What's that?
Do you remember?
I don't think I do.
Macy's Day Parade.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Dude, what a good key in general.
It is.
For non-music fans, a key is a certain selection of notes that must be used if you're abiding by the rules of music. So there's obviously cases where you can go outside of that and add in notes that you want to, but it helps to give you a guideline for how the song is going to sound when you dedicate the key that the song is in.
So in music, there's 12 notes total, and a key is a particular 7 notes out of those 12.
Yep.
And you typically, when you're playing a song in a key, you're playing just those notes and chords that consist of just those notes a lot of the time. Now, there are, of course, a lot of exceptions to that rule, but within the context of a typical major or minor key, that's the way it works. And
Very well done.
I honestly owe you for that knowledge, because when we were teenagers, I think you took, I don't know if it's from guitar lessons or where you got that, but you kind of learned the basic structure of music and chords and all that stuff, and you kind of passed that along to me, and I understood it in kind of more of a structured mathematical way, and I took that knowledge and I still use it to this day. And every time I'm in a musical situation or project or whatever, people are usually really impressed with my understanding of that. And it's useful because a lot of people don't have that. And I'm not saying that to pat myself on the back or to brag. I'm just saying that, like, you know, if you hadn't shared that with me back then, I probably never would have had that foundation. And it allowed me to be much more creative through the years because I had that, basic understanding that a lot of people don't get. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Well, it's interesting because my mom taught me how to play piano when I was a kid, and unfortunately I was 5 when I was supposed to start taking lessons, and she was my teacher. As much as I dislike that, having my parent teach me something I didn't want to learn, because honestly I loved music, but I did not love learning to play piano. It was pretty awful. I gained a lot of music theory in general from that. However, it wasn't until we were around the age of like 12, 13, 14 where I really started to get into it more. And I think it was probably my guitar teacher and just a mixture of understanding music and being involved with it for so long that gave me the ability to process it. But I've told people all the time, my other friends that are musicians, knowing just the basic fundamentals of music is going to help you write better music. Rather than guessing and assuming something sounds good, knowing that it's okay that note is there, that it should be there, will help you a ton. Because every song that we've mentioned, today, being in our top favorite songs falls within a song being in a certain key and having certain notes.
Yep.
They all follow those rules. And as much as I didn't like following the rules as a young kid, that was the one scenario where I did. So you know what?
Yeah.
Thanks, music, for the rigid structure. I appreciate that.
Yeah. But, you know, we spent years following that structure, but then it allowed us to figure out that there are times to break those rules.
Yep.
And that can be done very tastefully.
For sure.
And
It's
when
like a
we
little
started,
spice. Like a little spice on your panini.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't spice my
Panini.
paninis, but panini.
With a little bit of aioli.
Aioli on the truffle.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's spice is nice, you know. But you don't want to be crazy. You don't want to be like throwing every different note that doesn't fit within a song because you can.
No. And that was kind of that early battle of figuring that out. We like anytime you find out something cool that sounds really cool,
you overdo it.
You overdo it, which is what we constantly did. But with that kind of stuff, you just have to do it very tastefully.
You do. On the note of learning from each other and having our own experiences to share, the last thing that we kind of want to do today is wrap this all up in summary with some artists that we were individually inspired by. How do you feel about that?
Good.
Okay. Well then, hey, Jaron.
Yeah.
What is a band that inspired you, and specifically you? Because we grew up with a lot of the same music, but we obviously branched out on our own. Hit me with one of yours.
Yeah, I think like probably a band that is still kind of in that punk rock sphere, the right word?
Yeah.
But maybe something that you weren't as into, not that you didn't like him, but like I just kind of was a lot more obsessed with him for a while, is Goldfinger.
Yep.
And they were kind of like mixed the concept of ska and punk rock, right?
Yep.
And they were kind of just had really fun and fast songs and did a lot of crazy beats and stuff, and just kind of like one of our friends and I used to joke, him and I used to listen to that music together. We would joke that like you can literally just like, because we would do like hand beats in the car and stuff, like you can literally just hit a beat at any time with any one of their songs. It'll just work somehow because there's just beats flying around everywhere all the time.
It was pretty fast, and it was really intense.
Like a lot of upbeats, like in between beats and stuff, you know.
Yep. That was the
Skeet.
I think that was the ska influence. Not to be confused with skeet influence.
Skeet, yeah.
It's also
And we're not talking about shooting clay pigeons when we say that.
And not the other one that's a little more controversial.
Sure. I don't know what you're talking about, but sure.
I'll explain it to you when you're older.
Sounds good.
So I've enjoyed Goldfinger. I actually got into them more in 2017. They had an album that came out called The Knife. And what's funny about Goldfinger is they have a connection to Blink-182.
And James Bond.
Well, yes, but that's for a completely different reason.
Yeah.
And name only. Mine is in the musical
And
sphere.
like, mine's in name only, yours is in reality.
Reality only. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Not that matters.
Reality only. Yeah. So how is that? What's the connection?
So the lead singer of Goldfinger, his name is John Feldman. He wrote all of their music, and he was the main guy spearheading that operation, writing the songs, crafting the music, approaching the band with it, etc. In the 2000s, he started to branch off into production and more so engineering, working with other bands, one of them being Good Charlotte. So The Young and the Hopeless, he was a co-producer on. Love that album, by the way. Either way, he started working with more and more bands over the next decade. And by the time that Blink-182 fired Tom DeLonge for the second time, they were missing a guitar player, and they brought on Matt Skiba from Alkaline Trio, which led to them wanting to make an album, but not sure who they would work with because their previous producer, Jerry Finn, had passed, which was an issue when they made Neighborhoods together. Travis mentioned, hey, I've been working with John Feldman on helping to produce some stuff. Why don't we consider working with him? And John Feldman produced their album California, along with their follow-up album 9. So one of the guys that inspired you brought that same songwriting approach and energy that you love to a more modern version of Blink with a new member.
Oh, I like it.
Yep.
I mean, there are definitely some aspects of that whole situation I didn't like.
Yeah.
You know, like Blink breaking up,
Like Tom being gone.
Yeah, and then eventually, they were broken up for a long time, and then somehow Blink 182 returned.
Is that a little Star Wars reference?
No,
Okay.
but
For those watching, I don't know what it is. Somehow Tom DeLonge returned.
that would have been better.
Yeah. If they did a release like that.
No, if I would have said Tom DeLonge returned, yeah, that would have been you perfected the joke, but that's okay.
We do that, though. That's what we do.
Yeah.
So, Goldfinger, they're great, dude. I got back into them in 2017 after hearing those John Feldman produced albums. And
I need to get into that album a little bit more.
The Knife? Dude, it's so good.
And I think they came out with one in like maybe 2020.
They did.
Have you heard that one?
Not the whole thing, but I'm sure I'd appreciate it.
Yeah.
Dude, he makes awesome stuff.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Are all the original members in the band still?
No. The bass player from MXPX is their current bass player.
Ah.
He has been
What about their drummer, though?
There's not a technical drummer from my understanding. Travis recorded the drums on the 2017 album, which is another connection.
Oh.
Yeah, it's freaking sweet.
So it's not the same drummer they had back in the day that did all the crazy ska beats?
No. He's in a different band called Girlfriends, which I freaking love.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow, dude.
There's so many cool connections with these bands, man. And, like, it's all fluid and interchangeable.
I feel like this whole punk rock scene is like a freaking egg salad or something.
Yeah.
There's all sorts of things. Does anyone even know what's in egg salad?
Eggs?
I mean, yeah, but
And
like
salad.
there's a lot of things in there you don't know, and it's sketchy. Have you ever eaten someone else's egg salad and you just don't know what's in it, and you're just like trusting?
Yeah.
I mean, for all you know, there's like like a dirty sock in there. There's someone's old vape cartridge is probably just hanging out in there.
Well, you could probably detect a dirty sock in there.
No, not in egg salad. You can't detect anything in egg salad. Someone's plastic knobs that came off their home stereo probably fell out, was in.
Yep, you might
some egg salad.
You might stumble into a piece of celery along the way too, and you're like, "Oh, I know that celery from that other dish I ate."
Oh yeah, dude.
I see where this is going. It's actually a really good comparison.
Someone's like, leftover AA batteries from like 2004 with like crusty acid somehow's in there. Man, there's everything in egg salad, and you never know. That's the thing.
You never know
because of the smell is so potent. Is it potent or potent?
Potent.
Potent. Like impotent.
Yes, it's very impotent that we get this right. Not to be confused with impotent.
Yeah, which we're not shaming anybody for their lack of ability.
Yeah, to procreate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or to forge a kyber crystal. So, but anyway, let's not blend episodes.
Let's not.
We've already done that enough this episode. But what were we talking about?
Just Goldfinger and how cool it is that John Feldman's had such an influence on the genre even after his band, which wasn't overly successful, is somehow put him in a position to where he's working with all these cool artists. It's awesome.
Yeah, that's cool. I like seeing that. I like seeing that collaboration. I think it's really good for the fans.
It is.
The fandom or the fan smarts. Because
the fandom menace. Okay, I'm
done. But yeah. So
I'm done.
Yeah. I don't know why we've somehow said so many Star Wars jokes this episode.
I mean, it's a large part of our friendship. We'll move past it eventually, I'm sure.
No. So, yeah. But yeah, it's cool. It really is cool to see. Like, it just brings a whole new life to being a fan of punk rock or just anything, really. I like even with comedy and podcasting, like that collaboration and with bands, like when you see those guys collaborating, it really is inspiring, and it like kind of takes it to another level. I think everyone's better because of it.
Yep.
It's less competitive. It's just a bigger, happier world, when people are doing that. And I like it.
So what's one of your favorite Goldfinger songs?
I have several. So this is kind of funny. I know this what I'm about to say is going to sound like I'm not a very good fan of that band, but it just is what it is. I'm not going to be shameful about it.
Well, you also listened to them at a point in time in your life where it was easier to access that music, and you've even said now you can't necessarily do that in your later life.
Yeah.
So what you appreciate about them is what you appreciate. I'm not going to judge you for it.
Right. I know you wouldn't. I did. Yeah. So like, okay, the album that I listened to the most was their Best of the Goldfinger album, and that's just because I got a hold of that somehow.
I think I had a copy of it.
And I just listened to that, and that's how I appreciated them. And still to this day, that's the one I've listened to by far the most. Like if I want, like, oh, I'm gonna listen to Goldfinger, I listen to that album. I think maybe like Superman.
Yeah, good song.
Yeah, and
That was on Tony Hawk Pro Skater.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I think it was the second one.
Yeah, which one? Which Tony Hawk?
Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2, I believe.
Okay, wasn't like Underground or something.
Could have been.
Yeah, there was a lot of those.
I don't know.
And then maybe like Spokesman.
It's a good one.
Spokesman.
Yeah, I don't even think. Don't even breathe.
Yeah,
Is that how it
just want
goes?
to hear about life.
Yep. Don't want to be a spokesman.
You didn't even do it right.
Well,
That's
I
okay.
did it my own way, and that's what
okay.
makes me unique.
Yeah, you are unique. That's for sure. So yeah, I mean, they just had a lot of fun. There was a lot of those. Just there was a lot of unique songwriting and sounds to them. They kind of had a little bit of a wide range of sound as well.
Very diverse. Yeah.
Yeah, diverse is a good word.
Dude, even now in their more modern era, I think they've accomplished it even more so. It's really
Well, I'm gonna have
sweet.
to check that out. You know, I just haven't been as like eager to listen to a lot of stuff in recent years, and it's not because I don't appreciate it or don't want to. It's just life. It's just being an adult. So like,
It's a commitment to listen to something new.
Yeah. So I need to get back into some of that. You know.
Yeah, I can respect that. Dude, I get it. There's albums that are on my wish list, not a wish list, like my things I want to listen to list. It's probably the best way to put it.
Yeah, that's a great way of putting that. Yeah.
What do they call it on Netflix when you have a movie set aside that you want to watch later?
Your queue.
Your queue. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've got albums in my queue for sure. I've got songs in
Yeah.
my queue for sure, but
Yeah.
my daily commute doesn't allow for it anymore. I suppose I could do it when I get home, but I have other things I get distracted with, so. But dude.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, it just seems like we had hours and hours every day back then to listen to music. So
We did, because we had nothing to do. We were
but
just kids.
maybe we'll appreciate it more. The little bit of time that we have nowadays, we'll maybe appreciate it more because we don't just have all the time in the world.
Yeah.
So
Um,
did you? Yeah. What about yours? Did you share yours?
no, I
You
haven't.
haven't. Yeah. Let's hear it.
I haven't, but there's been a band in more recent years that has kind of opened me up to exploring other genres, which I've done a lot in the like the past decade more than anything else, just because I want to expand my palette. I want to be a better musician. I want to appreciate more and not be
Now-
so elitist.
Genres, is that like what the name John is short for?
Yes, you hit the nail on the head.
Okay.
That's
gotcha.
it.
All
That's
right.
it. Good job, buddy.
Yeah. Thank you.
I always touch you on our episodes. How's it make you feel?
I don't know. It doesn't make me feel bad.
Okay.
If anything, it's in the other direction.
I wouldn't want you to have a negative
It
experience.
might make me feel a certain way.
Okay, well, hopefully it's affection towards a friend in a platonic way.
Hopefully.
Good.
But,
Good.
I wouldn't always count on that. So,
Well, this has become a very uncomfortable moment for me, so I'm going to move on.
okay.
It's not really
Sounds good.
uncomfortable. For me in particular, the band Camino, and that's their name.
Oh, yeah.
There was a song that was released in 2017 called Daphne Blue, and I don't know how it wound up on my playlist, but one of my coworkers at my job at the time, him and I would bond over music. We had some similar interests, nowhere near the level that you and I do. But I told him, like, dude, I found this band and I love this song. And I showed it to him. He's like, dude, this is the band Camino. I'm like, yeah, that's why I wanted to show you the song. Like, have you heard this song before? He's like, no, I've heard like all their other stuff that they've already come out with. Is this new? I'm like, I think so. And he was like, dude, I've seen this band live. One of my best friends got me into them. We would go and see them when they were like really small. They're starting to get bigger now. And that song had like this 80s rock, but like 80s pop vibe to it, with the way that it was like anthemic and the way the guitar part was written. Then the verse kicked in and it had like this like subtle pop approach to it with a modern production style, but it was very rock oriented through and through. And you could tell these guys were inspired by some type of alternative music that we listened to. Like, it was there. You could feel it. But there's something about what that band opened me up to, and what that song in particular opened me up to, is that I didn't have to define my musical taste and my interest and the things that I wrote by the time frame that I got into music, which was hard for me to escape, because I was so drawn to that 1990s, 2000s era of pop punk that I didn't want to leave it behind.
Yeah.
This showed me that it was okay.
You felt like you were abandoning it or leaving it behind, but really you weren't.
I never wanted to. It wasn't even that it was a question. It was just I didn't have a reason to. And this song showed me, dude, you can do that. You can create other things. You can explore other things. You can have other hints of different types of music. And they had so many songs that just resonated with me, but their album Try Hard, it was incredible. There's a song on there called Haunted that I absolutely love. And, dude, it just reminds me of a time in my life where I was kind of like thriving, and it was great. And that album was just all about being content with where I was at the time and proceeding forward and exploring new regions of my life, and it personified it. But the sound, dude, they took so many influences from things from the 80s, from like the 90s. There would be a little bit of like vintage synths from like the 70s, but it was always presented in a rock band format.
Was this the band you were playing on your phone earlier, or was that different?
No, that would be different.
Okay,
I'll show them to you after we're done.
I want to check it out. That sounds awesome.
It's pretty freaking sweet. But I don't want to talk about them too long.
Yeah.
I do have another band that's tough for me to not mention because it is within the world of pop punk. But they also reignited a flame in me with that genre of music, realizing I don't have to listen to the same bands I've always listened to, which is important.
What did that flame do for you? Did it make you flamboyant?
It made me flamboyantly pop punk. But like in the new way, bro.
Okay.
It opened my eyes up to new artists within that genre without isolating myself to what I already knew.
What's the freaking band called?
Neck Deep, dude. They are incredible. They're British.
Neck Deep.
Dude, I found them through a Green Day cover. They covered Boulevard of Broken Dreams, which I wasn't overly impressed with the cover because it wasn't the band I loved.
Yeah.
But then their music started showing up. Friends would be talking about it. And then in the summer of 2015, their album Life's Not Out to Get You came out. And this album was so good from front to back. Then I found out one of the producers that worked on A Day to Remember's music produced it, along with the lead singer of A Day to Remember helped them to write and produce this album.
I remember that day.
Oh, it's A Day to Remember, is it not?
Yeah.
Dude, either way, they opened my eyes. They're making new music now that, in my opinion, is some of the best within the genre that I've ever heard. I visited our friend Zach in California. We went to Sad Summer Fest where he was working. I got in for free. I stood up on the stage while they played. And their new music is so incredible, dude. To be there to experience it from that perspective is so cool.
That's awesome, dude. Yeah. So you feel like it really, like, I've always been scared to get into too much of the newer punk stuff because I feel like it's just going to disappoint me or it's not going to be the same or whatever.
I promise you it won't. There's so much good stuff out there.
Okay.
And it honors the bands
you
that we
need to
listen
make
to.
You need to make me a playlist on Spotify.
I can do that.
Yeah. I asked you to do that like 2 years ago and you forgot.
I don't think it's that I forgot. I think it was a lot of pressure. Now I could do it a lot easier.
Oh, yeah.
I could throw together some stuff for you real quick.
We've each had our different spells of just a lot of pressure and dealing with, stress and anxiety.
And just life in general.
And life. So, like, yeah, I get it, man.
Yeah. You know what?
It's all good.
And as far as life goes, because music is so heavily tied into it, I'm so content with where I'm at. I'm so content with my musical tastes. I am content with life as a whole. And I can appreciate so much of what we've talked about today with a new light because of how much we've grown as individuals since we found that music. I'm very grateful for everything that music has brought me, the friendships along the way, the experiences we've had, and just the memories associated with it.
Totally. And it's just talking about it makes me appreciate a lot more. And, because I think life throws you a lot of disappointments, and we've had a lot of disappointments, but then you look back and you talk about those things and it makes you grateful.
Yeah.
You can look past those disappointments and the negatives and think, wow, like there's a lot of things to appreciate. There's a lot of things to be grateful for, and there's a lot of things you just wouldn't change.
Couldn't agree more.
Nice.
Is there anything in particular that you've got an itch to listen to after talking about all this today?
Like not really the bands that we talked about. I'm actually kind of excited about listening to some of the newer ones you mentioned.
Yeah.
Because I just I don't know, that sounds intriguing, and I just think I haven't listened to new music in a while, so I think I'm just kind of like excited. Like that's the other thing is I don't think that I listen to new stuff unless somebody gets me excited for it. Like I just can't just browse around on Spotify or YouTube or something and just like listen to random stuff or like whatever. Like if other people are listening to it, like friends of mine, and they get me into it, then that like there's just kind of like a excitement there that's passed along, you know.
Well,
So
you know what would be really exciting then on that note? Finding some new music to listen to and share with each other.
yeah.
And to also make some plans to go to that festival, potentially in Vegas, to go see Blank and Green Day play
Dude, that'd
together.
be cool.
Wouldn't it?
That'd be cool. Let's try to do it.
Let's figure that out.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to say in conclusion to today's episode? Is there anything you felt like you didn't talk about, or?
Not really, man. Not really. I feel like we covered a lot. I'm sure we'll talk about music some more on other episodes. But yeah, I feel like we really got to the heart of what we wanted to and how we feel about music at this point. And yeah, what about you?
I would just say, reflecting upon it, I'm very grateful for our friendship that was probably more heavily. Our friendship grew thanks to the music that we listened to.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful for our friendship and the memories we made along the way and
Yeah.
the times we've got to experience together. So just kind of
Yeah.
summarizing something else I've said, but thanks for
Yeah.
that, dude.
Yeah, thank you, man. Because I feel like every time we've had a project to work on together, a creative project, I feel like it brings us together. You know, our friendship kind of thrives more. Like with the bands,
Yep.
and then now with this podcast. You
Yeah.
know, like we probably don't have the capacity to do a band right now in our life, but like we do have the capacity to do this.
Right. And you know, it gives us an excuse to get together and do things too,
Yeah.
which we wouldn't do as
Yeah.
often just because of life being life.
Yeah.
So-
like honestly, like if not, like I want this podcast to be successful, and we're going to work hard towards that. But if nothing else, it's just, hey, we're getting together and having some fun.
Yep, and I am all for that.
Yeah.
It's nice to set aside a day where I know we'll get to do something enjoyable and talk about the things that we love or things that are worth talking about in general. And today we got to talk about music. And
Music.
I appreciate that. I was going to make a cow joke because you said music, but I couldn't figure it out in time.
All right. Well, on those notes, let's hit the outro.
Hey, you can't do that.
What?
We don't do that.
Oh.
We say...
What do we say?
We didn't say it last week because we said something Star Wars related. We got to
Oh,
give the
okay.
folks what they want.
What do they want?
Well, what they want is for
Okay.
me to say, hey, Jaron, for all the memories and the music that we made together, your thank you.
Your thank you.
Your thank you.
Your thank you.
And your thank you.
And also your thank you.